Good morning. Washington strongly criticizes Pyongyang for the launching of 2 additional short-range ballistic missiles on Monday, saying it is a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. On the picket line, doctors from the Korean Medical Association announced a one-day strike to be held on March 10th to protest what they believe is a prelude to privatization. The 91 million view man. Meet YouTube sensation David Choi, who's created a fandom to call all his own.
I think one of the greatest things about being on YouTube as a singer-songwriter is being able to travel the world and perform my songs.
All with a simple beginning, which is leading to full-blown success. One less chore to do around the house. Get a look at fully automated robot vacuum cleaners, which scan the house, vacuum the floors, and wipe it clean on Tuesday, March 4th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Kim Min-jung.
And I'm Jin-ju.
All right, let's begin with our top story. The United States has strongly criticized North Korea for firing off 2 additional short-range ballistic missiles on Monday, saying it's a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. U.S. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki said that Washington is closely monitoring North Korea's activities and intentions. This was the second round of missile launches in less than a week that comes amid annual military drills between Seoul and Washington that are currently underway. Reports indicate that the missiles, believed to be Scud series with a range of over 500 kilometers, flew past the South Korean air defense identification zone and landed in the waters below the Japanese defense zone.
Continuing with news of North Korea, Red Cross representatives and government officials from Pyongyang and Tokyo met in Shenyang, China on Monday. After 6 hours of talks, they agreed to continue negotiations on the possible repatriation of the remains of Japanese nationals still buried in the north, while Pyongyang urges Tokyo to compensate for the suffering caused during Japan's brutal colonization of the Korean peninsula in the early to mid-20th century. In what could possibly be a first step toward resuming official discussions between North Korea and Japan, the focus is on whether these meetings could lead to formal bilateral talks. These talks, the first of their kind since August 2012, are expected to last until Wednesday.
A former senior deputy governor and veteran central bank official Lee Ju-yeol has been tapped as the new chief of the Bank of Korea, a move that many analysts say isn't going to lead to major shifts in policy. The 61-year-old governor-designate is widely seen as a moderate and neutral policymaker who will be succeeding incumbent Governor Kim Jung-soo at the end of this month. A National Assembly confirmation hearing awaits Lee within the next 3 weeks. The change in the BOK's leadership comes at a time when Korea's economy is picking up steam despite unfavorable external factors such as the U.S. Federal Reserve's withdrawal of stimulus plans and sluggish growth in emerging markets.
Doctors of the Korean Medical Association have announced that it would go on a one-day strike next Monday and then a 6-day-long protest starting March 24th. The decision comes in protest of the government's plan to allow hospitals provide remote medical services and set up for-profit subsidiaries, which doctors fear could possibly lead to the privatization of the medical sector. To take a closer look into this conflict, we now connect live to our Kim Chan-ju, who's at the Korean Medical Association. Chan-ju, fill us in.
Good morning, Jin-ju. I'm outside the Korean Medical Association in Yongsan-gu, Seoul. When I spoke to KMA about the strike yesterday, although they said media reported it is set to take place for one day on March 10th and again for 6 days starting from March 24th, the actual period of strike has not been fixed, as March 10th walkout could easily turn into a long-term strike. After the announcement, Doctors Association quickly formed an emergency planning committee to draw concrete action regarding their next step. This is the largest protest by the industry in 14 years, so here's a closer look at doctors' strike. The Korean Medical Association threatened to go on an all-out strike on January 11th. Nearly 47,000 members of the association participated in an 8-day vote, in which an overwhelming 76.69% of them supported a proposal to strike.
Since the result of the strike illustrates the desperation of reality, I'm certain that many will take part in the strike.
The government is pushing for allowing hospitals to run for-profit subsidiaries to boost the country's medical industry. The KMA cited that this plan would seek profit from patients and would eventually lead to a hike in their medical bills.
The implementation of telemedicine and creating for-profit hospitals can pose a risk to public health, and as doctors, we desperately want to stop these policies. Also, the current health insurance system is at a stage where doctors are not able to give the best diagnosis to their patients. Through reforming our health insurance system, we want to create an environment for patients to be able to receive optimum diagnosis.
Telemedicine allows patients from remote areas to receive diagnosis and prescriptions from doctors by using such devices as webcams. The KMA says telemedicine cannot replace a doctor's diagnosis of patients in person and opposes the practice, saying it undermines the essence of medical treatment. The public and many patients are anxious that their health may be affected by the association's nationwide walkout.
The strikes is a group suspension, which means all doctors will not be seeing any patients. Taking the innocent public as hostage and threatening the government will not be supported by the public.
The Health Ministry says a strike by the KMA puts public health at hostage is illegal, and the government would sternly deal with the strike in accordance with the law.
In case of an all-out strike, we will order hospitals to resume their operation, and if disobeyed, a 15-day business suspension will be applied. Also, doctors will be filed with criminal charges.
With the number of those taking part in the walkout, the Doctors Association expect that this will be the largest strike in 14 years since the separation of medical dispensing and prescribing.
Now, Chunju, many are worrying that the protest might lead to a medical crisis, but the government yesterday said it won't just sit back and let this happen and pledged to strongly respond to the strike, which it called illegal. Is there any room for compromise between the two sides?
Well, there were signs that both parties would come to some agreement when the Korean Medical Association decided to put off their strike back in January. The government then said that it will actively negotiate with the group, but talks turned sour, and now the KMA says it will not negotiate unless the government makes the first move. No signs of backing down from the government either, as the Health Ministry said yesterday it could not accept the strike. The ministry also expected that the number of doctors actually taking part in this strike will be low compared to those supporting it, and there will be a little impact on public's inconvenience. So we will have to see how this will unfold. Back to you, Jinju.
Hope the government and the doctors could reach some kind of an agreement on the conflicting issues soon and minimize the inconvenience to patients. All right, Chenju, thank you for that report. That was our Kim Chenju reporting live from the Korean Medical Association.
Good morning. Let's run through the front pages of your newspapers now. A variety of domestic issues running the pages this morning, and today we'll start off with an image on 동아일보. And let's look at this picture here. The title reads, U.S. nuclear submarine arrives in Busan for the key resolve. Now, a nuclear-powered U.S. submarine arrived in Busan, a southeastern port city in Korea yesterday, to participate in an annual joint military drill. And in the picture is the USS Columbus, a Los Angeles-class submarine that has arrived to participate in the Key Resolve and Full Eagle military exercise. And now switching gears for a look at an interesting headline, on the same paper on 동아일보 right beneath the image. The title reads 100 elementary schools with no new students. Keep it or leave it. Now, the subheadlines say that there is a question of whether or not to maintain or abolish mini schools that are struggling with their existence in Korean society. More than 100 elementary and middle schools were unable to hold an opening ceremony yesterday due to there being no new students coming in. And now, the problem is there is the issue of low efficiency from the high costs needed in maintaining these schools, while apprehension lies in there being an educational void once these schools are gone, on top of also the anxiety of the collapse of farming and fishing villages where these mini schools are located. So the article says that there is a desperate need of some kind of resolution with saving these elementary and middle schools as well as these villages. And now scooting on over to 중앙일보 for a look at this headline here. The headline reads, 새누리 party at 40%, while new coalition party at 36%. Now, the paper's research team held a public opinion poll yesterday, surveying almost 1,000 adults here in the country for a check on the approval rating of the new coalition party. Now, here in this chart, the black line indicates the approval rate for the new coalition party, while the red line shows the rating for the 새누리 party. And since February 21st to March 3rd, you can see that the rate is going up to almost 36% for the new party, which is not too far from the 40% level that the 새누리 party maintains. And now let's go on over to 조선일보 for a look at this headline here. And we're going to be checking this headline right here. The Korean president says reunification will come the sooner the North gives up nuclear weapons. And at the 5th Asian Leadership Conference, President Park Geun-hye said that reunification will come with North Korea giving up its nuclear weapons, reaffirming her stance that unification would prove to be a jackpot or daebak for South Korea and the wider East Asian region. And now for a look at some business news, let's look at the headline here on Mail Business newspaper. The headline reads, newly appointed BOK governor emphasizes growth and communication. And you've heard in the headlines earlier in the show, but President Park Geun-hye yesterday nominated Lee Ju-yeol as the new governor of the Bank of Korea. And he mentioned the word trust and communication more than 10 times during an interview following his nomination, which underscores that the central bank will focus on regaining trust from the public in making monetary policies through communication with the public. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for Tuesday. And coming up are the stock numbers from Monday.
Time now to get a check on the weather. We're expecting overcast skies across Korea today, but midday highs are decidedly warmer. This is when you have to be careful not to catch a cold.
Exactly. Well, you just got over yours.
I know. I don't want to come down with another one.
Some of our staff management seems to have the cold that you had, but regardless, if you're out there and with these fluctuating temperatures, you should be a bit careful. We'll get a look at today's weather conditions.
Now, the situation in Ukraine seems to worsen day by day. For more on this story and other international headlines, we'll go right over to Eunice Kim at the International News Center. Good morning, Eunice. What's the latest?
Good morning, Minjung. Just hours ago, Washington revealed that it is preparing to impose economic sanctions on Moscow if it is in fact true that Russia has threatened Ukraine's military to surrender or face military attack. Now, Russian state media Interfax earlier had reported that the Russian Black Sea Fleet had given Ukrainian forces a 3 a.m. deadline to surrender, citing an unnamed source in the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. But so far, neither the Ukrainian government nor the Russian government have confirmed this to be true.
Many watchers are concerned because the Paralympics are set to begin this weekend in Sochi, Russia. So my question is everything on track?
Right. The opening ceremonies are coming up on Friday, and while there are no outstanding changes as of yet, we are watching developments as Germany was reported to be examining pulling out its team from the games, depending on the situation. Now, the UK Prime Minister David Cameron had directed his ministers to boycott the games, which is huge because Great Britain has been one of the strongest supporters of the Paralympics.
Certainly, the Paralympics are taking a blow, taking a hit by this now. I believe we have some updates from China.
That's right. We have new information on the Kunming railway station attack we told you about yesterday. China's Xinhua news agency is reporting that the 3 remaining suspects have been arrested, with 1 injured female suspect already detained. It cited the Ministry of Public Security as saying the team of 6 men and 2 women was led by a person by the name of Abdurrahim Kurban and pointed to Uyghur separatists from Xinjiang, citing insignia and flags discovered with the words East Turkestan.
All right, finally, we have to talk about what's being dubbed the trial of the century over in South Africa involving Pistorius. What's happening with that?
Right, this is a big story as well. The so-called Blade Runner Oscar Pistorius did face his first day of his murder trial yesterday. He is charged with murdering his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp, on Valentine's Day last year. Now, the double amputee Olympic sprint runner pled not guilty to the charges, and later that day, the first witness to the stand, a neighbor of Pistorius, told judges that she had heard, quote, blood-curdling screams by a woman, followed by 4 gunshots that day. Pistorius has maintained that shooting Steenkamp was a tragic accident, as he had mistaken her as an intruder hiding in the bathroom.
What a story. This is garnering a lot of attention locally and internationally as well.
Right. It is the first trial that's being broadcast live on TV in South Africa, in part because of the fame Pistorius had garnered as someone who overcame the odds of physical adversity to become an Olympic athlete. You might remember Time magazine had called him the definition of global inspiration back in 2012, but of course now it's a very different story. If he is in fact found to have murdered his then girlfriend, he could face life in prison with a likely minimum of 25 years.
Global inspiration not to be. Do keep us posted on this story. Thank you, Eunice, for that.
Bet.
And still ahead on Korea today, we're going to take a look at some we have some doctors in the studio later on the show with the dry air and fine dust particles blanketing Korea these days. A growing number of people are at risk of eczema. Already some 830,000 people suffer from this skin condition. So we take a look at some of the ways we can treat this rashes. 2 doctors will be joining us. Stay tuned.
Now, there's a Korean-American musician who has caught the world's attention with his music and YouTube. Korea Today got a chance to meet with this 28-year-old singer-songwriter David Choi in the U.S.
That's right. He has 91 million views on his YouTube channel. That is a lot of people. And it all began when one bored afternoon he felt like writing a song, and voila, the rest is history. Let's meet him right now.
We visited the home of David Choi, a singer-songwriter and world-famous YouTube star.
So you put it all together. So So I'm just working on my Happy song that's Pharrell original. I'm just editing a little bit here, getting ready to release it on YouTube. I'm pretty excited about this one.
His home is where he brings out his musical talent, and although he comes up with his creations effortlessly, the response he gets from them are enormous.
If I save more money, maybe I can get a huge studio, but this is good for now. You don't really need a lot these days to make a big sound, so. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
I love you, YouTube, and this song's dedicated to you, YouTube.
In December 2006, Choi uploaded a song on YouTube which only took him 20 minutes to write and leaped into stardom. His single track, That Girl, recorded almost 100,000 hits within 3 days.
What made me decide to upload a song on YouTube was I was bored. I was at Warner Chappell Music at the time, signed as a staff songwriter producer. And I was writing songs for other artists, and I just wanted to write something funny and just something out there, and I chose to write the YouTube love song, and then it got featured on the homepage, and yeah, that's kind of how everything happened.
Choi has released 22 albums so far with some 70 tracks, and of those, the one he feels most attached to is the song By My Side.
I think one of the greatest things about being on YouTube as a singer-songwriter is I'm able to travel the world and perform my songs. By My Side is one of my more popular songs, and it's crazy because people all around the world have used it for weddings and to ask their girlfriends out or their boyfriends. Quite the honor. And I just love traveling and meeting the people who support me through the internet, which is a very strange thing, but it's very rewarding to meet everybody. As far as other genres are concerned, probably for David Choi, I probably wouldn't go too far from what I do. But I mean, for fun, I do other styles of music. When I was before YouTube, I actually started with electronic music, so different genres. I like pop generally, so I enjoy making that on the side. My ultimate goal is, it was never to be famous or anything like that. It's for me to just share my music. That's my main goal, with as many people as possible in the world, because these are my songs and I want people to hear it, right? And I want them to relate to my songs, and then I can relate to them, like in their stories and stuff, So that's like the power of music. Good jingle. Congratulations, congratulations, Adi. Ready? Okay. Congratulations, Arirang TV, for launching on DirecTV. Congratulations.
Thank you, David Choi. 91 million views and counting. Now, that is the man who actually made that freestyle jingle for us for our DirecTV placement, Arirang TV. And now it's time for our arts and culture segment where Im Yoon-hee joins us. First, good morning.
Good morning.
And one of the biggest events in the movie industry and the oldest award ceremony in the movie industry. Now we're talking about the Oscars, which was held. Good morning, and tell us a little bit more about this.
Good morning. So last night, the 86th Annual Academy Awards took place in Los Angeles, California. One of the biggest events, like you said, in this industry. Now, there are 24 possible awards, and they are voted on by the Academy of Motion Pictures of Arts and Sciences, and it's a 4-month-long process, so it's a busy time for the industry, definitely deciding these awards. A lot of movies are nominated, and there's a voting process with thousands of different candidates.
Yeah, that's right. It seems that one of the biggest awards that everyone's looking for is, of course, the Best Picture award, right?
Yes, the Best Picture award. So this is the Oscars last night with the beautiful statuette that everyone is vying for. That this year's award for Best Picture went to 12 Years a Slave.
Well, you know, no one's really surprised about that because that movie really did hit the hearts of many out there. Not a big surprise. It left an impression. But at the same time, I think this man now, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's been on the hunt for an Oscar for quite some time. And this movie, the movie that, the 3-hour-long movie, which really doesn't feel like it's 3 hours, now that was, or people thought that was going to be the one for him.
Yes, everyone thought that Leo would win the the award for Best Actor this year for his performance in Wolf of Wall Street. But this year's award for Best Actor went to Matthew McConaughey for his role in the movie that he performed in Dallas Buyers Club. Now, this is his first Oscar, but it's his touching acceptance speech that kind of left everybody speechless in the award.
First off, I want to thank God, because that's who I look up to. He's graced my life with opportunities that I know are not of my hand or any other human hand. He has shown me that it's a scientific fact that gratitude reciprocates. Whatever those things are, whatever it is we look up to, whatever it is we look forward to, and whoever it is we're chasing, to that I say amen. To that I say, all right, all right, all right. And to that I say, just keep living, huh? Thank you.
And that is a huge award, and he does take home the Best Actor award. Some people are saying that DiCaprio, well, actually, you know, Matthew McConaughey was actually in the Wolf on Wall Street along with Leonardo DiCaprio, but a lot of people are saying that DiCaprio may have been even, unquote, robbed.
There are some sentiments about that after the Oscar ceremony last night. Leonardo DiCaprio's name was the most tweeted, and so the social media was abuzz with information on Leo about how they felt he should have won, but you know, he's just going to have to keep making those movies.
Yep, that's right. He's going to have to keep trying, and he is a great actor, but I think he's one of those actors out there where he's such a superstar that his superstardom kind of masks his acting, no matter how good it really is.
That is a possibility. He is quite the big star in the industry.
Okay, now we'll be moving on over to the Best Actress.
Yes, the Best Actress award for this year went to Cate Blanchett for her performance in Blue Jasmine. So she is actually quite the accomplished actress. She won the award for that movie with the Golden Globes, and she also took home an Oscar a few years ago in 2004 for her performance in that movie. Yes, so she has racked up the awards, and so it's not a big surprise that she took that one home last night.
All right, this one is directed by Woody Allen.
Yes.
And she's a 6-time nominee, also won several Oscars, in fact. Now, quite an accomplished actress there. And now the movie Gravity. This was probably one of the biggest films to hit, I think, in the year 2013. And that popularity even continues to this very day. I mean, it's a cinematography effect that will really blow you away.
You seem quite the fan.
Well, I am, actually. I was really blown away. I saw the movie 3 times. First in regular, second time in 3D, and third time in 3D and digital.
That's the way you gotta do it. So it was nominated for 10 awards, and it took home 7 last night, blowing the other movies out of the water. It was done quite well. I think the Academy recognized it for its ability to kind of just take a creative approach to the movie industry and create something that was new for the general
Well, it was
public.
a visual masterpiece, and it did take home the most awards for a film on last night's Oscar night.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us, Uni, and for all the updates from last night's Oscars.
My pleasure.
And still ahead on Korea Today, are you tired of vacuuming? Well, you might have something that's going to help you out. Robotic vacuum cleaners. We're going to compare some of their features, including navigation and cleaning patterns. We also take a look at some of the technology that makes these vacuums what it is on IT Plus.
Time now for news. Summer. Well, the Oscars may have been big in the U.S., but here in Korea, the popular boy band EXO is trending now. They're the hot commodity now.
Yes, they are. To get a check on this and more, we now go over to our Kwon Nina at Arirang's digital room. Good morning, Nina.
Good morning.
Good morning, Minjung, and good morning, Jinju. That's right, EXO is making headlines yet again here in Korea. But before we get to that topic, the hottest item as of 6 a.m. this morning is a drama that began yesterday. God's Gift 14 Days aired its first episode last night, and accordingly in the morning, this came up as the hottest topic that people are talking about here in Korea. And as you mentioned, yes, the Academy Awards took place yesterday, and this was at number 1 as of 2 p.m. And of course, we talked about Girls' Generation yesterday, but it seems like other SM and entertainment artists are doing quite well as well. SHINee's Key and, of course, Infinite's Woohyun is going to form a duo known as Two Hearts. That's something to look forward to. And also, let's going back to the EXO's Dio joining the TV drama It's Okay, It's Love. SM Entertainment made an announcement on the 3rd confirming that EXO's Dio had been cast for the upcoming Wednesday-Thursday drama set to air in July. Traditionally, evening TV dramas are paired up to air on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday nights. This paradigm is changing, but it's still worth saying that these pairings are coveted time slots. A little bit more about the drama, It's Okay, It's Love revolves around stories of modern-day people who suffer from mental illnesses but are naively unaware of the fact. Choi and Kong Hyo-jin were earlier confirmed as the leads of the drama. Meanwhile, Dio was cast as a high school student who is also an aspiring novelist with innocent yet mysterious personality. It sounds all very eerie. Now, over into the afternoon, people in Korea were still talking about the Oscars, but we're very interested in who took home the Golden Oscars. We wanted numbers. All right, Gravity winning 7 Oscars, as talked about on our Arts and Entertainment Corner, closely followed by the listing of Dongbang-shingi's Yuno being named as a charity spokesman. But the item I want to pay attention to today is Change.org petition starting over in Canada. The reverberations of the judging at the Sochi Games women's figure skating event continue, but this time it's not just for supporters of skaters Kim Yeon-na or Adelina Sotnikova. On Change.org, another post surfaced from Vancouver, Canada, demanding re-evaluation of the event. The Canadian petitioner asked for transparency and no more anonymity with the event's judging system. The petitioner goes on to say that, quote, "My rationale for organizing this petition is for the subjectivity of the judgment to be transparent." While the petition to re-evaluate the event has surpassed the 2 million mark, the post from Vancouver has reignited a talk on this controversy. By 8 p.m., the talks on Oscars were still going on, and I may say was on full swing. Matthew McConaughey taking home the Golden Globe for Best Actor. Okay, and of course, Gravity taking home 7 Oscars. It was at 5th place as of 8 p.m. The piece we want to zoom in domestically is the arrests for illegal protests. The chief of the National Police Agency has made one thing clear at yesterday's press conference. With conviction, Lee Seung-han stated that illegal violent demonstration could result in immediate arrests. In the past, certain key figures and politicians have granted protection in the eyes of the public. However, in the coming future, anyone participating in an illegally organized assembly would be treated with force. The fundamental principle has always been there to arrest anyone responsible for organizing an illegal protest on the spot. However, recent events show that focus was more on ending the protest and filing the paperwork later on. Unfortunately, this has caused several messy cases where protesters would push the boundaries with the authorities. The announcement was made, but we'll have to just wait out and see how this pans out here in Korea. That's all for me today. I'll have more updates on News Sum Up tomorrow.
and with this new season of Korea Today, we have our health check segment, but we're going to do things a little bit differently. Approach it, one, from a medical perspective from Western medicine, and number two, coming from the perspective of Korean traditional medicine. And joining us today is Dr. Alice Hyun-Young-dan from Samsung Medical Center, as well as Dr. Shin Ha-suk, director of WHO Oriental Medical Clinic. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
All right, thank you both. Now, this is today we're going to be covering a condition which actually my daughter suffers from, and it's atopic dermatitis or eczema. And many people in Korea, many children especially, are prone to this. First, we'll take a look at this video and find out more about eczema.
The intense itching from eczema or atopic dermatitis can lead to sleeping disorders, red rashes, and dry skin, causing much difficulty and pain not only for the patient but also for family members. A recent story about how a mother killed her young daughter who was suffering from eczema prior to taking her own life shocked many in the country. According to a report, the number of those admitted to the hospital for eczema treatment over the past 5 years increased by an average 13.6% each year, reaching over 1 million in the country. With dry weather conditions and excess fine particulate matter these days, we take a look at eczema, which is on the rise.
Now, this very tragic story of how one mother took extreme measures because of the eczema that her daughter was facing. Now, it just goes to show how stressful and how difficult eczema can be to deal with. Now, it seems that there are more and more, a growing number of children that suffer from eczema these days. Why is this? First, Dr. Dan.
Right, I don't know that anyone can give you the exact answer to that question because we don't know, in other words, the medical community, we don't know exactly what the causes of atopic dermatitis are. We do know that there seems to be a complex interplay between genetics, the immune system, and changes in the skin barrier function. When we look at worldwide prevalence, it seems to range between 1 and 20% of the general population and up to 30% in children. But once we hit a plateau of about 20%, there doesn't seem to be an increase beyond that. In other words, once everyone who is susceptible gets it, it doesn't spread throughout the population. Research has shown that the factors that predict higher prevalence rates include higher socioeconomic status, higher level of education for the family, smaller family size, and urban setting. How and why these factors would be related to an increased prevalence of atopic dermatitis within the Korean population remains to be defined.
Dr. Shin, how about from the Korean traditional medicine point of view?
In traditional Korean medicine, we think that this rise in atopic dermatitis is mainly due to an immune system breakdown and also a lot of modern day stress. To boost the immune system, we focus not only on the symptoms of the skin, but imbalance of the internal organs. So when we are under a lot of stress, our body generates heat inside, and the heat attacks the lungs, and it manifests on the skin as rashes, such as eczema.
Okay, now we're talking about some natural treatment options using ultraviolet light. But when it comes to treating actual treatment of atopic dermatitis, Dr. Dan, what options are there when it comes to Western medicine?
Right, so the goals of treatment of atopic dermatitis are to help treat the symptoms, the itchiness and the dryness, to prevent flares and to minimize any harmful effects of the treatments themselves. Antihistamines are used to decrease the itchiness because it can be very, very severe and prevent people from getting a good night's sleep. Sometimes infection can be the cause of atopic dermatitis, and so antibiotics may be used in that situation. Changes in the skin barrier, irritation, that needs to be healed. And that can be helped with emollient creams and lotions and also sometimes corticosteroids.
How can we treat eczema or atopic dermatitis through Korean medicine?
Herbal medicine for the atopic dermatitis has been reported effective in many studies. So special attention is given to the physical examination of the affected skin and the tongue, appearance of the tongue, and the pulses of the individual to determine the cause of the imbalance and also determine the individualized treatment approach.
Well, it seems like eczema or atopic dermatitis, every time you hear it, it's a persistent condition that with persistence and hard work, as well as controlling your diet and much more, it can be overcome. And it looks like you can take Western medicine as well as elements of Korean traditional medicine, put it together if one is not exactly working out for you. But of course, the best method is prevention. Is there any way of preventing atopic dermatitis, Dr. Dan?
So within your lifestyle, you can take measures. First of all, you want to hydrate and keep your skin nice and healthy by using emollients and lotions throughout the day, not just after the bath. Also, if you have any allergens or environmental irritants that cause flares for you, those need to be avoided, such as cigarette smoke or house dust mites, for example. Lastly, we do know that stress, anger, frustration, these can cause flares in a lot of people with atopic dermatitis. So relaxation techniques, stress management is very important. And so getting a balance between work, life, and your health overall is an important part of managing and preventing atopic dermatitis flares.
Dr. Shin, any tips on prevention?
So there are 3 simple things to regulate autonomic nervous system dysfunction. So eat, sleep, and move. So first is including fresh fruits and green leafy vegetables into your diet every day. They can reduce inflammation of the skin. And second, sleeping well, at least 7 to 8 hours every day at a regular time, can help with the secretion of the immune boosting hormones in the body. And the third, walking at least 30 minutes every day. That can also stimulate the meridians on the bottom of your feet. That can help with circulation in the body. So with the food we eat, the sleep we get, the environment we put ourselves in, the mental and physical experiences, we can perform a balancing act to healing atopic dermatitis.
Well, it sounds like a great tip to keeping your overall health, and not just for people who do have eczema. Dr. Shin, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Dan, of course, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, we look forward to another, not exactly a battle, but tips from both sides of the spectrum here. Thank you both very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And a good Tuesday morning to you all as we kick things off with some good news out of women's golf, as Korea will now host the qualifying rounds for the LPGA U.S. Women's Open for the first time ever. Now, on Monday, the Korea Golf Association and the U.S. Golf Association has agreed to have a 36-hole qualifying tournament for the U.S. Women's Open, as it becomes the first time that the country will host such event. Now, with the event taking place at the Ujang Hills Country Club in Cheonan, 70 pro golfers and 14 amateur golfers are set to be invited for the event. The 36-hole stroke play will take place on May 19th. And moving on to the Winter Olympics, as 10 Korean Sochi medalists were invited to Taeneung on Monday as they were given their financial rewards for their medal finishes. Of course, topping the list of recipients, short track star Park Seung-hee, who finished off with 2 gold and 1 bronze medals in Sochi, received over $58,000, with her 17-year-old teammate Shim Seok-hee receiving roughly $44,000 for her gold, silver, and bronze medal finishes. Meanwhile, 500-meter speed skating gold medalist Lee Sang-hwa received over $28,000 for her second straight Olympic gold, while Kim Yeon-ah was given $14,000 for her silver medal finish as well. And on Saturday, the 2014 K-League Classic season kicks off as 12 teams will go after the league title. But on Monday, the K-League Classic Media Day took place as fans wondered what the 12 head coaches had to say about the upcoming season. While the Pohang Steelers are the defending champions going into the new season, 9 out of the 12 head coaches in the league chose the Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors as the preseason favorites. Now, some of the other teams that were mentioned were the Pohang Steelers, the Ulsan Hyundai Tigers, and FC Seoul, while Sangju Sangmu's head coach believed that all the teams have a shot at the title this year, aside from his team. And finishing things off in the NFL, where future Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning passed his medical test on his neck and will be cleared to go for the 2014 season. Now, as part of a requirement that will pay him $20 million this season, he was required to pass a medical test on his surgically repaired neck. And according to the Associated Press, with Manning passing the medical test, he will be playing in 2014. The 2013 MVP, who had 4 neck surgeries before signing a 5-year, $96 million deal with the Broncos in 2012, took his team to their first Super Bowl in 15 years and has gone 28-7 in his 2 seasons so far with the Broncos. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
And in this new segment, we'll be comparing 2 rival electronic gadgets and see what new technologies and functions they have to offer. For this, we are now joined by David Kim, who'll be joining us every Tuesday. Welcome, David.
Good morning.
So what do you have for us today?
Well, as smart technology gets more prevalent in the home, robot vacuum cleaners are no exception. But these robot vacuum cleaners, even though they share a bunch of basic functions, a lot of products out there are now featuring new technologies and new features to try to differentiate themselves from their competitors. Today, we're going to take a look at some of those features.
Right, and many of you might wonder where Young and Minjung is. They're getting ready to actually show us how these robot vacuum cleaners work. Guys, how are you working on there?
We're having fun here.
Yes, we
Young
are.
and I each have a robot vacuum cleaner. Mine is called Kling Kling. What's yours called?
Mine is called Robo King.
See, mine has a cuter name.
Well,
See?
Robo King, it sounds commanding, right? Now, we've been fiddling with this for a little bit. As David had mentioned, there are a lot of smart technology that's making its way into appliances and even vacuum cleaners. And now you don't even have to worry about a remote control. You just get a smartphone and let it do your bidding just for you.
Right.
So we'll get a look at that later on.
Right, we've all tried vacuum cleaning. It can be tough to get every nook and cranny of the house. And this baby, my baby, takes care of that. It goes even under the bed and takes care of all the dust under the bed. And also mopping can be such a hassle, right? This takes care of that. It mops itself and it re-wets itself. How amazing is that, right?
That is
Before
pretty amazing.
we try this, we're going to show you a short clip. So take a look at that and we're going to try this, show you.
The robot vacuum cleaner Kling Kling made by Manuel follows random cleaning routes. If you take a look at how it moves, not only does it identify spots that have yet to be cleaned, it goes over random areas that have already been taken care of. It also has a shadow mode that allows it to clean under your furniture or the bed where your hands can't reach. When it's on shadow mode, it focuses on dark spots within the house and pays extra attention to those areas. So it's a function especially for spaces hard to clean. Another function is the wet mopping function that's especially designed to pick up minute dust. If you pour water in the container and switch it to mopping mode, the device keeps the cloth wet and makes sure you don't have to frequently swap it out. We'll bring the robot cleaner that's perfect for any homemaker, Kling Kling, into the studio.
So that's Kling Kling. I'll show you how this works. You can scribble something on the floor and I'll erase it like there was nothing on it.
All right, I'll
See?
just put my signature.
Ooh, Young Kim's signature.
Which looks more like a scribble. So I'll just
Right, like
put
a
that there
child
as an example.
scribbling. All right, I'm going to erase that with my mop. And this is amazing because it re-wets itself. I'm going to go woof. See how that works? And you can use it with your remote control. It's really easy to use. It's gotten off the floor a little bit. If you
Maybe
can
it
help
just needs a little tug here. There.
That's right. Goes back and then just one swipe and it's gone. It's quite amazing.
That's quite neat. I think I
is.
need that Kling Kling. So David, how does that Kling Kling know when to supply the water to keep its cloth wet?
It actually uses a really ingenious method. After you fill the water tank, it actually uses a vibration created by the motor to evenly distribute constant little drips of water to the mopping mechanism to keep it constantly wet. But there are a lot of vacuum cleaners out there that have a mopping function, a vacuuming function. However, the thing about the Kling is you can actually set it to do a simultaneous mode to do all the features at once. So it'll do it in multiple passes, vacuum, mop, and wipe.
I think that vacuum cleaner definitely knows what woman wants. Now, Young, what do you have over there?
Well, the fact that it does actually hook up to a smart device, I think that is probably the most convenient option about it. And the fact that you can control it manually as well as use the automated function along with the turbo key over here. I think this thing speaks for itself. So basically go ahead and start, and then you press the turbo key and it'll start really moving.
It's quite loud though.
Well, I can't say anything about that, but why don't you check out the features in this next clip and find out more about the Robo King. The robot vacuum cleaner Robo King from LG Electronics follows a navigating method for cleaning. Using its two cameras, one on the top and bottom of the device, the cleaner scans and remembers its cleaning route. The camera on the bottom scans the floor for recognition and assists in the cleaning process. One of the functions of Robo King that sets it apart is its smartphone compatibility. Using the designated application LG Smart Robo King 2.0, you can easily control the device with different cleaning commands and adjust the settings. It also has a voice recognition function that lets the user operate the device with just voice commands and also check up on its status. It's smart and keeps things clean. We check out LG's Robo King in the studio.
Very proud.
I'm very proud of this baby over here. What do you think, Jinju?
The smartphone app really adds a lot to the convenience of using it. So, David, I have another question. What are some of the other hidden functions of that robot cleaner?
Well, as was mentioned in the video, it has a voice recognition feature. So when you're at home, if you want to know what your vacuum cleaner is actually up to, you can actually call out, what are you doing right now? And the vacuum cleaner will actually update you with its status via text message sent to you, where it'll tell you, oh, I'm vacuuming, I'm recharging, whatever its current situation is.
Cool. All right, we've been taking a look at some of the most trendiest robot vacuum cleaners. And I hope this information would have helped those of you who want to buy one in the near future and planning to buy one. And as we wrap up, we'll go over briefly over the key technologies and functions of these two robot vacuum cleaners.
See, now Minjo is playing with mine right now.
I am
My
interested in
vacuum
this
cleaner.
because it has a voice recognition system, so you can talk to it and tell it to move. See, I can tell it to move it backwards.
Come back.
뒤로. Okay, my pronunciation is not good enough or something.
All right, let's check this out. 앞으로.
See, the thing, there we go.
And then there it goes.
And then
right
it
there.
says, sir, yes, sir, and then it moves. So how can
I try?
You can try after we wrap up the show, I suppose.
Right.
The time has come that we wrap up today's show.
That's right. Looks like we've introduced you to some fun items as well as news from around the world today on Korea Today.
So, Robo King or Kling Kling?
I'll tell you later.
Okay, all right. Neutrality there. Well, that'll be all for this edition of Korea Today.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.